And look at that. We're up and rolling.
Hey.
But we're going to wait until I can actually see myself. There we are.
There you are.
Hey, good evening, everyone. It is Tuesday, February 26th, 2019, and this is Walking with God. I'm your host, Kyle Walker, and joining us this week is Joe.
Hey, how we doing, everybody?
So thank you all very much for joining us. We're going to go ahead and jumpstart right into it. Oh, look, we've already got people coming in.
Man, we got a lot of people showing up.
Awesome. Thank you guys very much for joining us. So first and foremost tonight, and I don't even think I warned you that I was going in this direction. We've been talking about other things. I like talking about the sports world. Like that's been kind of the fun thing I've been doing here in season 3. And we have times where sports is kind of where something happens and it's bigger than sports. We have the Miracle on Ice, which was USA versus Soviets. That was a moment bigger than sports.
Right.
And then we also have things like Jackie Robinson breaking the color barrier and just tons of great moments.
Larger than sports.
Larger than sports. We also have negatives that are larger than sports. O.J. Simpson being one that
would be right at the top of my list.
Comes to mind. Well, now we can add the owner of the New England Patriots, Robert Kraft. Now, if you're not familiar with this story, Mr. Robert Kraft, worth billions of dollars and arguably the head of the most successful NFL dynasty in all the land.
I don't think it's arguable.
Okay. Has been, and again, we're in America. You are innocent until proven guilty. He has been accused of solicitation of prostitution. He has been charged with 2 counts, and he allegedly has gone to a place in Florida to receive services over and above what is listed on the price scheduling, the price fee. Now, look, I understand that everyone's gut reaction, and mine too, was to come out and make fun of the New England Patriots. I mean, people don't really like the Patriots. So, I mean, it was like holding your marshmallow to an open flame and just setting that thing on fire, the jokes that came out about the New England Patriots. But I want to personally stress, this is above football rivalry. And what really gets me about this is this place, the reason he was caught, this was a month-long operation that was investigating ties to human trafficking. Now, solicitation of prostitution is a terrible, terrible crime. Human trafficking dwarfs it. Human trafficking is the stealing of children. It is just crimes that I don't even want to spend time listing on this show because they are so upsetting to a father of 2 girls, and you 3. So I want to put this out there. Look, this goes beyond football, and all I can really say to do is, okay, he is innocent until proven guilty. Should he be found guilty in a court of his peers, and he may not even go to court because honestly, these are misdemeanor charges, 1st-degree misdemeanor, I think is what they called it. But the New England Patriots will no longer receive 1 second of my viewership. They will not receive 1 rating that comes from my home. Anything that I can do that would, I guess, limit his potential future gains, I'm going to do, and I would encourage people to do so as well, because he's going to get a slap on the wrist legally. That is my opinion, not based in any fact. It is not right. And if he is found to be tied to human trafficking in any way, he personally, as a billionaire, as a close personal friend of high-ranking politicians and someone who has a lot of other billionaire friends, if he is in any way, shape, or form involved, I hope they throw every piece of the book at him and he is prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law, because this is sickening that he has even been caught in this situation. And if it goes further, I personally am hoping that he is fully punished. So that is my piece on sports today. It's more than just football rivalry. It's more than just Chiefs and Patriots. This is basic human decency, and he has lost any and all respect in my book in regards to this issue. So I know I totally blindsided you with this. Do you want to chime in any way, shape, or form?
Yeah.
Follow that, buddy.
Caught me a little off guard on this one.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. And I am not going to over-spiritualize this in the slightest. This guy's a jackwagon.
That's big language coming from him.
I would say something else, and I probably will later in the episode, because but the guy's a jackwagon. And what has happened here has put people in jeopardy.
Yes.
And my opinion on this
Mhm.
is that I know there's power that comes in the culmination of all the owners.
Yes. Oh, big time power.
And so if this is proven to be guilty, and we can say if, because we have to give people their day in court.
Yes, that's right.
If this is proven that he has done this, then if I am one of the other owners or the group of the other owners, I am doing everything within my power to remove him from his role within the New England Patriots.
Yes. Ideally, yes.
Ideally, yes.
Yeah.
If I am playing for the New England Patriots, I am no longer playing for the New England Patriots.
Yeah.
Understanding that those guys are pretty good at what they do. It's not like they'd be out of a job. Someone would hire them.
That is correct. Yeah.
And yeah, basic human decency.
Exactly.
This is, and you're right. It is children. It is also adults who are forced into things.
Correct. Yes.
It is not just young ladies. It is young men. It is grown men who are forced into things. It is, in essence, the modern day form of slavery.
It really is. Yeah.
And I believe we once fought a war in this country over that issue.
That we did.
And the side that was against it won.
That's right. Yeah.
And this is a war that is fought in. This is a problem that is in our backyard.
Oh,
For
yeah.
those of us who live in suburban Johnson County, where wealth is at every doorstep, even at the poorest of doorsteps, there is wealth at every doorstep.
Mm-hmm.
I read an article recently where they talked about the illicit massage parlors and how there were over 80 of those in Johnson County, Kansas.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There's a lot.
And probably some they don't know about.
Oh, definitely.
And that, prostitution is happening. And so it is time, if we have to stand up and say, this is slavery.
Yeah.
And that we won't stand for it.
Right.
And if Robert Kraft is the last little drop that pushes an iceberg over to where we get to see the underbelly of what's really going on and we get to figure out what we're actually fighting against, then let's pick that fight.
Yep. Yep. So that wasn't the intent of the show. That's not the direction that we're going, but it is topical. It's in the news, and I thought I would just throw that out there. We are far away from the screen, so if you guys are leaving comments, I can't read them. I can't see them from here. But
I see something about a marshmallow on there.
A marshmallow. Yeah. Yes, the flaming, burning marshmallow.
Yes.
So, not that we're exactly going to go lighter in subjects, but trust me, we're not going to stay that dark. Joe, a couple weeks ago, when we were talking about this show, and again, he was delayed by the snowstorm of last week, you've had something that was really kind of just on your heart that you wanted to get out there. And honestly, I didn't even know it was something that was a problem. It is what we originally discussed was the mental health for pastors and for clergy, kind of pastoral care, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
And again, not something that was in the forefront of my mind. Honestly, all the pastors I know, Joe himself, they're there, they're available. They're for me to help me spiritually, but I never kind of thought about the other side of that coin, about who's there for the pastors spiritually, who's there for the pastors' mental health, and what can happen if there isn't someone there. So with that very weak setup, why don't you go ahead and start telling everyone, and again, we're going to kind of bite this off in pieces, but let's start diving into what it was that you wanted to bring to this February episode.
When you first started this show, and you just told me we're on episode 70, but 70, guys.
70. This is the 70th
awesome.
episode.
This is awesome. So we're firmly entrenched in offensive and defensive linemen in our numbers of episodes.
Indeed.
But one of the very first episodes that one of the very early episodes that you did that really grabbed me.
Okay.
Was where you talked about your work with Team Fidelis and
Yes.
trying to battle against the suicide when it comes to veterans and some of the misnomers that come with that.
Correct.
Some of the things that where extra care is needed to be provided, and
Right.
and some of the ways that happens. And recently, I've found in the last 6 months, I've seen 3 news stories where pastors of large churches have taken their own lives. These men who are in the profession that I'm in, which is supposed to be a profession of encouragement and care.
Right.
It's also supposed to be a profession of leading, but what's happened is that they are not receiving, or in some ways, the encouragement and care that they so rightly need.
Right.
And what's got me going on this,
Yes. Hit it.
is the response that I've seen from the most recent. This was a young man in California, took his own life, pastor of a large church.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, younger than us.
Okay.
And we're not that old. Well, Kyle's getting older. I'm not.
I am.
But pastor of a large church who had preached a sermon about mental health and
Mm-hmm.
preached a sermon about taking care of yourself, and then before the next weekend service, took his own life.
Mm-hmm.
And some of the response that I've seen from prominent church figures has just infuriated me.
Mm-hmm.
And so this very well could be an episode where we move from a PG episode to a little bit more of a PG-13 in some of the things that we have to say.
The FCC would call it TV-14.
The FCC would call it TV-14. So this, just a reminder, this is Walking with God with Kyle Walker. And to this time, Joe, who's going to say some things that I've needed to say. The first response that I saw was a pastor who I will not name.
Okay.
But his response was that the reason that this had happened was because this man obviously did not have a relationship with Jesus. I am going to sit here and tell you that is a load of crap. I want to say something else, but I'm going to refrain from that. It's a bunch of crap. The fact of the matter, and biblically speaking, the book of Matthew says, in this world we will have troubles.
Yep, we got warned it was coming.
It will happen. It was a statement of fact.
Mm-hmm.
And if we are sitting here and saying, by any stretch of the imagination, and downplaying what someone is going through by saying, obviously they didn't have a relationship with Jesus because they're struggling with something, someone needs to smack you in the face.
Directly in the face.
I might want to do that.
He kind of does.
I really do. And so, and I'll say in Jesus' name and give you a hug when we're all done. But this is one of the most foolish things that you can say. And if you are continually saying it, the thing is, a young pastor who does not know better, or someone who is thinking about going into this world who does not know better, might look at that and say they're telling the truth when they are absolutely lying.
Or completely misled.
Completely. The second response that got me even a little bit more worked up was they said this pastor at one point in time had been on antidepressants. So he obviously knew that there were problems.
Yep.
And he removed himself from that.
Okay.
And this different pastor said because he was on medication at some time, this was a sign of weakness.
Wait. So this pastor, knowing he was struggling, got himself on an antidepressant medication as
things were under control,
prescribed by doctors.
Prescribed by a doctor,
and
removed himself from it.
Okay, and another pastor said, what now?
It was a sign of weakness.
A sign of weakness to medically
seek things out. I hate to break it to you, and I hate to break it to you. Jesus wandered around with a physician.
And which one was that?
The guy's name was Luke. There's a book. He wrote a book.
Yeah, you might have heard of him.
he also traveled with probably the foremost evangelist in the history of the world, the Apostle Paul.
Right.
And he was a physician. The book of Colossians calls him a man of healing. He was a physician. He was a doctor. If Jesus himself surrounded himself with a physician, if doctors weren't supposed to be something that we used, I don't think Jesus would have hung with one of them.
Well, and doesn't one of your mentors, Pastor Dan, call Jesus the great physician?
He does. Well,
The great-
Jesus, he called himself the great physician too.
Oh, okay, well, there you go.
But one of the things with this is that, and you told a story at one point in time about a lady waiting on a roof and waiting for God to come. Waiting for God to save her. I believe, and I will say it again, I believe as firmly as I believe anything in this world, that if we were not supposed to seek out medical help for things that become a problem, especially here, there is no issue. If a pastor has pneumonia, he would be called an idiot for not seeking medical attention.
Yeah.
If a pastor broke his leg, he would be called an idiot for not seeking that. If he's got depression, he's called weak.
I guess that's somehow different. I wonder where my heart surgeries fit into this. If I hadn't had 2 open heart surgeries, which were mildly important, I'd be dead, but would I not be as weak?
You would be the strongest man ever.
I'd be the strongest dead guy.
Samson of the grave.
I would be the strongest dead guy.
So
super.
Here's the deal. This was the second bit that I heard, and I am so frustrated that people view this not in the way of, we have got to protect here.
Yeah. Because
here leads to how things go here.
Yep. And we talked about that before, the vertical relationship.
The vertical relationship. And truthfully, oftentimes it's what happens in our head and what happens in our emotions and some of our brain synapses that can damage vertically.
Yes.
And so if it means that to get right vertically, I have got to be able to go see a doctor and take a pill.
Yeah.
Then by all means, go see a doctor and take a pill. And anyone who tells you that's a sign of weakness, don't associate with them.
They might be wrong.
There's not a might.
They might be wrong.
They are wrong. And so here's the thing that I would encourage on this front. We have to start to realize that for those people who give and give and give and give and give of themselves, it can be clergy. It can also be first responders. It can be teachers.
Yep.
It can be anyone whose job is to give.
Right. And there's a lot of
oftentimes those people are the worst at refilling their cup. And we all know that when we have completely drained ourselves, when we've given until we can give no more, that is the opportunity for depression to sink in and many other things that normally, if we're taking care of ourselves, aren't always going to be at the forefront. They're better controlled.
Yeah. We've seen this a lot, and like you said, it is the people who give. Okay, so police officers who give us safety and who put themselves in the line of danger every day. For pastors who give us that spiritual care that we need and who give us that advice that we call them up for. For mental health professionals, for therapists, for counselors who give of their education and give of their experiences. All these people give to us. And we oftentimes, myself included, take it, and we'll take it all. But we've never once thought about what is refilling them. And as you and I were talking about before the show, it can be something as simple as a thank you.
Correct.
Now, there are teachers, and I've on this show many times, I have taken up the torch for teachers because I think they're amazing, because even I don't want to deal with my kids as many hours of the week as they have to. But every teacher, every time I mention them and give them props on this show, they send me a message of thanks. Thank you for acknowledging us. Thank you for acknowledging what we do. And thank you for just showing us this much love on a half-hour show, on a podcast on a Tuesday night. And that thank you or that acknowledgement I give them just fills them up just a little bit. It's a little bit. And anything I can do, it's more than worth it to do it, because you guys can do it too. If we're all thanking first responders, thanking our pastors, thanking our teachers, think of how much their cup will runneth over.
Yeah.
Was there a third point to this one? You're working on the third point?
I got it.
Okay, let's do it.
And I was trying to think about how to put this into the most contextually sensible way that I can, because
we don't do sensible on this show.
I'm trying to be sensible.
We don't do sensible here. Go nuts.
You kind of hit on what I was going to say.
Well, then hit back. No, wait, no.
I will not.
Okay.
Not you. There is a stigma, and this is a stigma that happens within the pastor realm. And this is not something that was said. I kind of hit on all three of the things in two that were said. This is the third thing, and this is a stigma. And guys, I need you. If you are a church professional, if you are a first responder, if you are anyone who gives and gives and gives and gives and gives, struggling with things like depression or even bipolarism or PTSD or any of these other things does not equal you are crazy.
Yeah, they do put that stigma of mental instability just because you're struggling with something.
And it also does not disqualify you.
No.
What does disqualify you is refusing to get the help that you need. Now, I'm saying all these things, and please hear me. I am not discounting prayer and what God can do, because we've talked about prayer here before and the power that comes with it. Mm-hmm. I was unable to do anything medically to help you when you had but we got to know each other even better during your two heart
that's absolutely right.
Because I show up and I pray with you and bring you barbecue. But
that was wonderful.
Yeah. But I show up and I pray with you.
Yeah.
And it was because that's what I could do. And I trust that God can work through those things. But I also believe that getting help is oftentimes the most sane thing that we can do.
Oh, sure.
Don't get me wrong. Again, prayer works. Mm-hmm. But it's not pray and release. It's pray and go get the help that you need, because our God will work through the professionals he puts in our lives. And if we're unwilling to go do that, then we're wrong.
Right.
So here's my thing. If you're out there and this is something that you're struggling with, or if you're a pastor and you're listening to me today and you're struggling with this, I mean, first off, if you found yourself falling into one of these categories where those two things I talked about earlier are the first thought that comes into your mind, repent.
Yeah.
Go to Jesus and say, I am sorry. I am a dumb piece of poop.
More language.
I know. I'm telling you.
My goodness.
I really just want to say, and here you go. So if you know me, you'll know this is okay. Go to Jesus, say, Jesus, I've been a dumbass and I should not be thinking like this. Help me think otherwise.
Right. Yeah.
But if you're struggling with depression, if you're struggling with some of the things that come from this, get some help.
Oh, yeah.
And there's multiple options to get some help.
Oh, there's tons.
And get some help does not always mean go talk to another pastor. It might.
Oh, sure.
You should have that.
Mm-hmm.
You should have someone that you can go talk to. I have a friend who calls me, and I call him when I'm struggling with things that where I hear things in my head, and I'm not immune to the depression end of things.
Oh, no.
I'm not immune to the obviously being angry end of things, and sometimes responding in that.
My table is bruised,
which leads to more depression things.
Right.
And so I'm not immune to those things. And so I have to have somebody, but go talk to a counselor. That's why God created them the way they are,
That's right.
is so that they can help those who need help.
Yeah.
You know, so go visit them, go see them. If suicide is entering your head, there is a number, and
I'll look at it. Oh, you got it?
I got it.
All right. Well, while you're grabbing that, let me just echo real quick, because we've talked about it on this show. All right. If it weren't for the counselor I saw post-divorce, I probably wouldn't be sitting here, whether that be due to self-inflicting harm or I just would never have gone down the right roads that would have led me right here.
Right.
If you're watching this show right now, like we talked about last week, I have been given the title of amateur counselor, and I actually wear that with pride.
Well, as well you should.
If you're watching this show, that means because you're watching because you want a little something. You want a little direction. You might want to just hear something stupid that I've done that you won't do. But again, you're listening to get something, to hopefully get a thought or just get entertained. And it's my pleasure to give that, but it's no different than seeking out someone for mental health. It's no different than seeing the counselor, going to the doctor for medication, or calling the suicide prevention hotline, calling Joe, emailing the show, call me, text me, whatever the case might be. It's all good. It is never a sin to ask for help.
No.
Because if it was a sin to ask for help, then the big man would not have put us here to help.
Right.
All right. How clear is that? There wouldn't be pastors here to help you if they weren't supposed to be. I wouldn't be doing this if I wasn't supposed to be.
Right. So if you are thinking, if suicide enters your head, there is a National Suicide Prevention Lifeline.
Mm-hmm.
It is 1-800-273-8255.
And we'll get that posted on the show's Facebook page.
One of the cool things also, now we live in the world where calling somebody isn't always our first line, but we'll text somebody.
Yeah, we'll text all the time.
If you text the word home to 741-741,
okay,
you will be responded to via text.
Right.
By someone who is a trained counselor in that moment. 24 hours a day, people are waiting.
Yeah.
Guys, the thing I want to encourage you with is this. This is not all pastors.
No.
A lot of pastors take good care of themselves.
Sure.
A lot of pastors have some of this stuff, but you never know.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of officers do a very good job with mental health.
Yeah.
But you never know.
Right.
A lot of teachers do a very good job with mental health. I don't know how, but they do because you guys are amazing.
That's right.
But you never know.
Right.
So this is what I want to encourage you. There are 3 things I want to encourage all of us with when we encounter pastors, first responders, teachers, the care providers. Mm-hmm. Say thank you.
That's an easy one.
Thank you goes a long way.
It really does.
Allow them just to be a human and not a title.
Right.
Very rapidly. Went out to lunch the other day. Had a guy said, "Hey, well, I'd love to go out to lunch." And I said, "That's awesome. I'm going to go watch a ball game. You want to come with me and watch a ball game?" He said, "Sure, I'll come with you and watch a ball game." And 10 minutes into the ball game, it was a close ball game. I won't say who was playing, but I was starting to get a little worked up because, well, it was a close ball game, and I didn't necessarily think it should be so close. And any one of you who are my friends on Facebook will know that doesn't take a lot for me to get worked up about a ball game. No. And so about 10 minutes into the conversation, this person started asking me and said, "Hey, I got a theological question for you." And I said, "Well, I appreciate that you got a question. Can we table that and just watch the ball game? Because I'm enjoying this ball game and this burger."
Mm-hmm.
And they came back to me and they said, okay. So 5 minutes later, they said, "Hey, I got this question." I said, "Man, listen, I'm starting to get a little feisty here, not with you, but with the ball game. And so I would really appreciate it if you would allow me to watch the ball game. And we'll talk about this later."
Sure.
And then a few more minutes later, they just went full on into their question. Now, I'm not going to tell you what the question was, but I can tell you that the person they were in an argument with and they were both wrong. And so I listened for a moment and said, "Okay, so here's the thing." And I said, I'm going to tell you real quickly. You're both wrong, and I don't care to talk about it right now. I'm watching. We agreed we were coming to watch a ball game.
Right.
And at halftime, this person got up and left. Now, that might have been uncaring on my part, but I followed up with them since, and we've had the conversation.
Right.
But at the same point in time, in that moment, I was just Joe, and I was wanting to watch a ball game.
Right.
But there was an expectation that that's not who I was in that moment.
An unreasonable expectation.
And I was in that moment. I was introduced as Pastor Clausen, not as Joe.
Yeah.
Let these folks be who they are. Don't expect them. Officers, don't lead with the hey, it wasn't me, it was them. Don't lead with that. Lead with hey, how you doing today?
Right.
I appreciate what you do. You know, don't lead with hey, so I got this question. Is it illegal to do? Don't do that. Honestly, if they're sitting and eating a taco, let them eat a taco.
Respect the taco.
The taco.
That's right.
And the third bit of it is don't change the way you act around folks.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't care for people to come and be around me who act differently because of who I am, because of my title.
Right.
And I don't think anybody else should either. Be yourself.
Yeah.
Because the truth of the matter is I got as much junk in my life as you've got in yours. And honestly, sometimes I wear mine on my sleeve pretty well. I mean, it's out there.
Yeah.
I mean, I wear one with me all the time. I like to eat cheeseburgers. You can tell it when you're in the room with me. It's just the fact of the matter. And so be aware. Say thank you. Allow them to be themselves, and don't change who you are.
Yeah.
Those things are going to go a long way.
Yeah. And really, I guess the overarching umbrella for this, when you're talking to these folks, I mean, common sense. We've gotten to this point in society where we just treat everyone so ridiculously these days. Be kind. If, and I understand not everyone who watches this show is, if you are a Christ follower, kindness should kind of be your thing. Loving other people should kind of be your thing.
We're kind of told to, dude.
We're a little bit instructed to do so, or a lot of bit instructed to do so. So look, stop. Just stop with everything that society is doing these days, where we always have to be snarky. We always have to be on edge. We always have to be controversial. We always have to be negative. We have to be all these things that social media has taught us to be, when we are told and commanded to just love everybody else.
Amen.
Simplest thing you can do.
Amen.
So there we go. I think that's it. You good?
Listen, man, I'm good. I do want to say,
Firework.
look at these nice cups.
Oh yes. Our new mugs are in.
These nice cups.
Yeah.
Kyle and I each have one. I think mine's prettier than his, and it should be, because I'm prettier than he is.
Well, that might be true.
It is not mine. It is. But
fair enough.
It's okay. It's okay.
You can find these lovely things on the merchandise tab of walkingwithgodradio.com. New bracelets are in. They're blue. They sparkle. They glow in the dark. So if you want one, let me know. They're free. I will gladly give you bracelets.
I have tooled around on that merchandise website.
It's super fun, isn't it?
It is super cool.
It's super fun.
You guys are going to love it. The shower curtain is right up there.
Yes. The big wall hanging.
The giant wall hanging. So for super fans,
yes,
we have a wall hanging. For super fans, we have a comforter.
Yes, there's comforters.
That's quite something.
I gotta get the iPhone
fans,
case.
We have pillows, and they come scented like Kyle.
Oh no!
Oh no! Wait.
No. I do want the pillow with my face on it, though. I think that'd be great.
I think that could be interesting. I would not buy one of those.
Well, but see, if you're angry, you can just punch me in the face.
Yeah, but
whatever.
Yeah,
we're done. We're gonna all have nachos.
Thank you for hanging with us this evening. I'll be back next month.
Yeah.
Next week, you're getting to go to a show that I was supposed to go with you to, and I bailed because apparently I'm, not a good friend.
No, I think you're going to go do pastor stuff.
I am going to go do pastor stuff, but I was able to, share my blessing with someone else. Hopefully he appreciates it.
Yep. So next Wednesday, I'm going to be at the Metallica show,
and I am going to be in Orlando.
You might win. It's going to be warmer.
My plan is to find an alligator and bring it home.
Please bring it home dead. I don't want it
not.
alive. All right, we're done. We're rambling now.
Later, guys.
Hope you had fun. Be safe. Love on everybody. We got to close this out in prayer.
Jesus, we thank you for the evening. We thank you that we can have moments where we get upset, and we can also have moments when we can be silly. And I pray, Jesus, that if anyone heard this evening and they find themselves in a position where suicide seems like the right answer, that they either text that number or call the number that Kyle and I are going to post later, or call one of us, because we'll drop what we're doing and we'll be there. So, Jesus, I say I love you. Talk to you soon. Amen.
Amen. Hey, we'll see you guys next week. Thank you very much for hanging with us. Take care. Be safe. All that good stuff. Bye.